Happy Friday. It's November 7th, and this is the Big Agent Meeting. I'm Ian Wheatley from KGCI Real Estate on Air. Russ Lagan's going to be back with us next week. Let's be honest, working with buyers and sellers used to be a little bit more predictable. And sometimes, at least right now, it feels like a choose your own adventure where everyone forgot the map. You're juggling AI tools you don't fully understand, market shifts you can't control, and buyers who've read 3 blogs and now think they know the contract better than you do. And yeah, you're out here trying. But between the policy changes, platform shifts, and decision fatigue, you're tired of guessing at what's working. And the real issue, you're not lacking in information. You're drowning in it. What you need is clarity, actionable moves, and real examples from agents who are actually getting real results. And today, right here on the Big Agent Meeting, we've got you covered with a powerful segment from Leo Pareja's Real Estate Success Stories featuring Team Peterson Jackson, how they went from Facebook jokes to 300 plus transactions with one repeatable move, and an update from Alyssa Specht over at EXP University. They are rolling with their free AI Accelerator series, showing you how you go from confused about AI to confident without drowning in all those ChatGPT prompts. But before we get there, Holly Mabery is breaking down the latest NAR profile of homes for buyers and sellers, what it really means to serve clients in today's market in this morning's Brokerage Brief.
Well, it's been big news this week. The National Association of Realtors dropped their home buyer and seller survey. And I love this. I'm a bit of a real estate nerd, in case you haven't learned, but I love this report because it allows us to really continue to refine our business as we look to the future. And when we think about the last 3 years, yes, they've been flat as far as sales, but especially in the last year, how we have taken care of buyers and sellers, that's really amplified. So there were some really cool stats that I wanted to share with you as you think of your business going into 2026, some of the planning that you're doing right now, and also maybe some tips and tricks to put in your back pocket for later. So first and foremost, this is what I thought was interesting. Who's buying and who's sitting out? So first-time home buyers at a record low. Well, yeah, affordability is a big challenge. So not a surprise. And really first-time home buyers, about 21% of the market. But repeat buyers are dominating. And so these are the folks that are coming back time over time. Maybe they're moving up. Maybe they're buying investments. And this is key for you and I. So that relationship, we are community builders. When you think of every client you work with, it's not just about that sale in front of you. It's about taking care of them today, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, their kids, and maybe their kids' friends. That's a different way to look at this business. Now, the median age of the first-time home buyer, that's up quite a bit, 40. I never thought that the 20s would be the new 40 or the 40s was the new 20, but this is really interesting because when you think of your first-time home buyer, a lot of times it was folks straight out of college or getting their first job. They got their first puppy, having a baby. Now this is getting a whole lot higher. And as a result, this has increased from the 20s, which was very common in the 80s. Family households, those are shrinking. Only about 24% of buyers have kids. So there's a different mindset just kind of in the population overall. This is what I want you to think about though. I want you to stop assuming your buyer is young, married, or local. When you start thinking about the buyers that you come in contact with, they are move up and move closer. This mindset around moving closer, people want to be closer to friends, closer to family. Generations are really driving how the market is going to move, especially in the next few years. If you think about the baby boomer generation, many of these folks, my parents, they actually want to be close to family. They maybe have a couple of rental properties, so they may be putting those on the market, but they may be looking to downsize. See, they don't want to take care of a biggest property as they've had. So that buyer mentality, we need to shift how we communicate. And this is everything from our marketing materials. Yeah, I've got my readers here somewhere. I just turned 51, so I'm wearing those all the time. I want you to think font size a little bit bigger. Want your font to be very clean, how you are communicating, the words that you use, what people can see. So those closed captions on your videos, they make a difference. Now, where and why they are moving, this is also fascinating. Buyers are absolutely looking at quality of life, the neighborhood, proximity to friends, and affordable over proximity to work. People are willing to drive to work. And COVID really taught us that, like working remotely, and some people still have that ability and flexibility. Also, the median distance to move has decreased from COVID. COVID, we saw a lot of people moving around and doing things. That got a lot smaller. So people are doing more closer to 20 miles. So they're not moving out of state. They're not moving across counties or around the state, if you will. And then finally, lifestyle. That's one of the biggest factors that we're seeing. How people want to live, what they have access to. Is it a walkable neighborhood? Are there trails? Are there mountain bike paths? Is it walkable to their favorite restaurants? All of those things are becoming really, really key. So one of my pro tips for you today is, hey, talk lifestyle before location. The biggest thing when you think about this is, where do people where are your people, right? This is a question to ask. Where are your people, and where do your routine pull you the most, right? So if you're having to drive 20 minutes every time you go see a family member or somebody that you're seeing multiple times a week, does that make sense? 20 minutes may not be a big commute, but is an hour in city traffic? Yeah, that could be. Now, of course, financing. It's hitting everybody. We did see rates come down. We're not anticipating a whole lot of change come the December meetings, but there's an easing that's happening behind the scenes. So we may see rates just softening, if you will. So financing, yeah. 74% of people out there finance their home. The median down payment was offered, so people are putting money down. But first-time homebuyer financing, 59% use savings, 26% use financial assets, so maybe a 401k or a self-directed Roth, or they got a little help from family or friends. When you start to think about the debt, though, this is where healthcare, college loans, student loans, those are all coming into play. The conversations you and I are having with clients right now, as far as affordability and lifestyle, they're not just buying for today, they're buying for long term. And these are conversations you and I have been having. So that alignment makes a huge difference. And what we're seeing is, when it feels just slightly out of reach, what I want you to think about with that client is, hey, let's talk about the total cost of living. This feels a little out of reach, but let's talk about your commute. Let's talk about what this looks like as far as your lifestyle. Let's talk about your plans for the next 5-10 years. How does this allow you in flexibility? Whereas today, this feels hard, but what does it make sense in the future? And that's really kind of the crux of everything. Are you going to save money in long-term in rent? Are you going to save money from not having to commute as far? All of those things come into play. Now, how they're searching. No surprise here, they're starting online. So 46% of buyers are starting their search online. Okay, great. 85% are still relying on referrals. So they're asking people for, hey, do you know a great agent? This is where I go back to your past clients. They need you and they are proud to work with you. They would use you again. Like 84% absolutely would use you again. So why aren't we leaning into that? Now, this is the other thing that I found interesting, and where you and I show up as an agent. We saw the Zillow and OpenAI or ChatGPT integration that's coming. How exciting is that? See, from the palm of your hand or by voice, hey, ChatGPT, what are the new listings in this area? And it'll give you that Zillow search. That's really cool. But sometimes looking online and finding the right house, they're two different things. And that's what a lot of buyers are telling us. See, they need that agent to kind of walk them through and really showcase what makes sense. But also, when they're online, they want floor plans. And so many listings are not providing that. We are seeing more and more MLSs require the floor plan or some sort of schematic as part of the open or, the online content. This is the thing. If you are looking to be over and above for your sellers right now, are you providing a floor plan? Are you booking that? Whether it's Matterport or Cubicasa or whatever program out there you may be using, please consider adding a floor plan as part of your agent, everything that you're doing. Now, when you think of everything that we do as far as follow-up, I want you to make it personal. If you're talking to buyers regularly, At the end of every week, how are you adding more? And this is where I want you to consider by, hey, doing a summary of all the new listings that you sent them this week, because there's a lot more inventory coming on. And as a result, then do an audio message. Hey, Nate, I was thinking about you today, and I know we've sent you a lot of listings this week. These were my top favorites, but I'd love to know what you liked and what you're looking for. If you want to go out and look this weekend, I'm here. Just give me a call. And those are opportunities that make a difference. Now, the seller shifts. This is really kind of interesting. Median seller age continues to climb. Again, the baby boomers, they're starting to release some of that inventory. Also, the typical tenure, how long people have stayed in their home, 11 years. It's the longest we've seen in a long time. And as a result, those homes need a little bit of love. They need things to happen, if you will, as far as repairs or update. Heck, even painting is going to make a huge difference. And sometimes there are things out of date. So really kind of walk through with your seller what the market will bear and that real need for freshening. And then finally, like, look at the top reason. 26%, they want to move closer to family, which makes sense. If they're getting older, they want to be closer to family. They want to have that experience. Maybe they've got grandkids, all of those types of things. And then finally, for sale by owners. Yeah, at an all-time low, which I wonder why, especially when 64% lost their equity. So when you think of how you work with sellers, this is a strategic conversation I want you to have, and I want you to embrace this. Your role is to protect equity. It's to simplify the next chapter move. And that's more than a line. That's who you are. That's how we show up. So we are here to protect your equity. Can you imagine saying that to a seller and really connecting on that level, especially if they've been in the house 11, 15 years, 20 years, and they've got all of this equity and they're nervous about making this move, but you can show them how you can ease them into this next chapter. It's game changing. When you start to think about that agent value, this is how we show up: finding the right home, negotiating strategies, layering what that looks like, especially in a changing market, also spotting issues that have been missed. I was showing a house yesterday afternoon and I walked through and I was like, there's some dry rot over here. Okay, look, you can't open this cabinet door. They just remodeled the kitchen, but when they put the trim on next to the refrigerator, you can't open the cabinet all the way. So the cabinet needs to be updated. No big deal, but it would be a point of frustration at the time of move-in. And then satisfaction, this is my favorite. 91%, yeah, they'd use this again. What's sad is many don't, because we don't stay in contact. And that's on us. So we can be better right there. Now, I want you to reinforce visible professionalism. That's a conscious thing. Your negotiation skill, your communication frequency, your tech fluency, that's critical right now. Anytime we are meeting with people, it is visible professionalism. I'm exuding everything you need to see. And what's really cool also here when you're going forward is that agent to agent coaching moment. Data should always direct the next move. So align your marketing, showing your strategy, and then also match the tone. What does that mean? So again, going back to those older clients, which are people in their 50s that suddenly need readers, give me a 14-point font. Don't give me 11. That's terrible. And that's really by design. With our EXP documents, we did those in a bigger font because we know it's easier for our clients that you all are out there serving. So it makes a difference how you take care of people. That visual professionalism is going to be the key as we go into 2026. Stay in contact with your clients, communicate with them frequently, show how you're leveraging technology to give them the easiest path forward and protect their equity. Thanks, guys.
All good stuff. Thank you, Holly. Did you know that the Big Agent Meeting is streaming over on KGCI Real Estate On Air each week? Now, after we wrap up here on the Big Agent Meeting, we are going to be replaying over on KGCI Real Estate On Air this week's Real Estate On Air Live, and trust me, you'll want to catch this one. On this episode, I sit down with Chandra Venapusa, EXP's top producing solo agent by volume, and unpack the exact systems, tools, and relationship strategies that he's using to serve over 300 clients across 3 markets without ever burning out. From using the MLS as a CRM to running WhatsApp groups for past clients, Chandra's approach is ridiculously simple and it's ridiculously effective. So if you've ever felt like growth means chaos or that you need a team to scale, this episode's going to flip that script. You can stream it right after the big agent meeting inside of the always free KGCI Real Estate On Air mobile app for iPhone and Android, or you can catch the full replay over at realestateonair.fm. Now, what do you say to your very first client when you've got 0 closings and nothing but hope? For Tawana and LaShawn, the answer was, give me a shot. In this clip from Real Estate Success Stories featuring eXp Realty CEO Leo Pareja, you're going to hear how they turned Facebook jokes and group DMs into 300 homes sold each year. They're not just building a business, they're building community. And they're doing it with smart systems, first-time buyers, and a serious referral strategy. Let's listen in.
I'm super excited to have Team Peterson Jackson with me, Tawana and LaShawn, who I've had the pleasure of getting to know over the last couple of years at all of our masterminds. They hail from Detroit, Michigan, and crush it with hundreds and hundreds of transactions a year. And one of the reasons I love hosting the podcast is hearing the backstory. Right? When an agent sees that you guys did over 300 units in 2024 and on track to do the same in 2025, they go, that's not even in the realm of possibility. I'm stuck at like 10 or 11 or 12. So either one of you jump in, take us back to when you got into real estate, maybe even before that, where you, wherever the story begins as you tell it, so people can have some context as to how you got to where you're at today. And you were kind enough to jump on a recording from the Fontainebleau in Vegas at the Zillow Unlock conference because you crushed it with Zillow Flex. And I'll be seeing you guys tomorrow at the same event.
And we're super excited to see you tomorrow,
yes.
Leo.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited to be here today. And this is the highlight of our Vegas trip so far.
That's hard because I know you went to a good concert last night. So
Yes, we did. Let's see. For me, my journey into homeownership actually started as a child, just watching my grandparents, enjoy the joy of home ownership and what it meant to my family. Like my grandparents' place was a place that our family, it was our family home. All the grandkids, we spent the night there. All our family dinners and barbecues, everything was there. And I just remember the pride of home ownership and my grandfather burning his mortgage, and it was a big party. So it got instilled in me as a child, and I purchased my first home at 19. And I just didn't know that there was other ways to live in a house. I thought you had to buy it. So it took me, like I said, I was a teenager before I knew. So home ownership has always been a part of who I am.
Yes. And I would say my parents are first generation homeowners in our family. And I was super excited, just to help bring that to other families. It wasn't anything that was, hey, we did this before anybody. It was just something that I thought, everyone experienced. Everyone parents owned a home. Everyone parents went to work. Everyone parents had cars. Even though I would see that everyone didn't have things like that, I just thought it was a normal part of life. I always tell my team and all my friends that I made all my mistakes as an adult. So the whole poverty part of life, yeah, I did that to myself. It wasn't something that someone did to me. So I had to, back in about 2004 or 5-ish, I got into what was the rates when you were about to purchase a home, and then they would bloom and blow up and balloon in the arm rate. Oh man, I was in that first round. And I also was a person who had to get out of it, had to file a bankruptcy. So I had to, I had everything, and then I lost everything. And then I spent the rest of my life trying to show people that they didn't have to go through what I went through in my 20s and 30s.
And so Tawana, you're the one who jumped in first. What was like the first 10 customers? Was it how 0 to 1 is where most people get lost, right? Because that's actually the hardest into a business. Like once you get to 20, 30 transactions, you have a pretty high survival rate. It's that first, death valley to get to the other side.
The first clients, of course, were friends. They came directly out of my sphere. It was people who were, I'm going to give you a shot type.
Mhm.
And walk us through that first script, because I think for any agent listening who's brand new and just saw you guys crush it on the big stage at Miami, what do you say when you have no experience? You both had very great careers prior to, but when you get that license and you jump into entrepreneurship, you're starting from zero. What was that first call to your friends who said, I'm going to give you a shot? What did you say to them?
So like most agents, I was afraid. I was afraid to make that call because Tawana has done so many things and so much. So I felt kind of like, okay, so now, I'm selling houses. So, it's going to be something else in a year and a half. And I didn't want that. I wanted this to be like my thing. So I did it. I would say not in a coward way. At the time, I thought maybe I'm going to do it. I'm going to go on another way around it without just writing your face, I'm an agent, give me a shot, is I did social media. And I didn't have many friends. I like LaShawn had a ton of friends on Facebook. I didn't have as many. But I said, if I could use this platform that I'm in here joking, I'm laughing, and I'm interacting with people, I'm going to use that platform. And I remember going to my broker at the time and was like, I'm going to sell all my houses on social media. And her saying that that's not going to work. I was like, why not? I just bought a car off there. I know I can sell a house. I just bought a car from, a Facebook post. So if they're selling cars, if we're selling concert tickets, if you could buy food, if you could buy clothes, why can't we purchase a house? And I just started hitting everybody the DMs. I was in a bunch of Facebook groups, and in those groups, make a joke, by the way, buy a house. Make a joke, by the way, I'm still selling houses. And it came from those conversations. So my first 10 came very, very quickly. Yeah.
So let's go from year one where you did, tens of houses.
Yes.
To 100, by the way. I tell people going from 10 to like 30 is harder than 30 to 100.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So tell us how you did, what niches, like what specializations, because again, you don't sell 300 plus homes without having some very specific kind of systems and processes like, hey, I'm the expert at this. Walk me through some of those specializations, and which could have very easily shifted as well as you learned another one. But tell me a couple that have worked or are currently working for you in your business.
It was the first time home buyers in the home and doing all the workshops that did it. And the number two thing is we started meeting investors. We met an investor who had hundreds of clients in South America, and we started working for him. We were doing his rentals. We learned how to flip. We learned how to we can build a house for real, Leo. We learned so much by working with these investors. So we were purchasing the properties for them, then we would renovate them, and then we would either sell or rent them out. So that helped too with volume, along with our first time home buyer business. So we were pumping.
Then we did referrals. And I know because you've seen us around at a lot of the EXP events and things like that. LaShawn and I believe in going to networking events. The very first thing you're going to get at a networking event is you're going to get the education, right? That's why you're there. You want to learn the systems. You want to see what the top producers are doing, but you also want to meet the people. And every event I have went to, I have gotten a referral from an agent there or multiple agents.
And do you have a script for that? So I think people, again, get kind of lost in the 0 to 1. What do you guys do when you're at events that creates one referral at a minimum per event? Because that's a really high statistic.
It is, and I didn't even believe it until I went to one that I didn't know anybody, and I went by myself, and I was like, okay, this is going to be worth it. Me being away from my family, me doing this and saying yes, it's going to be worth it because I'm purposely looking for that referral partner here, and so I went around, I spoke to everyone, and my script, not necessarily a script, but my purpose was to find out what was their connection to Michigan.
And certain cities we know have connections. Las Vegas has a connection. Right. Houston has a connection. Atlanta has a connection. So the Carolinas have a connection. So we look for people who have the connection.
And if you find that person who has the connection, they're more likely to have a referral. You're more likely to create a referral partnership there.
Mm-hmm.
So if I would hear things, and I teach this to my class, that we talk about the forward questions. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm. But go ahead and share it with everybody who doesn't know.
Okay, so we talk about family. We're going to talk about something surrounding occupation. Your relationships or business, your recreation, and then D, your dreams and or desires. And so just having those kind of conversations with people, and keeping that center. So if I go up to them, hey, so, okay, kids, wife, husband, or, where are you originally from? Most people are never from where they are. So if we're in Vegas, oh yeah, I'm not originally from Vegas, I'm from Chicago. We're close because Chicago is only 4.5 hours from Detroit. So if you're from Chicago, I know you've heard of Detroit. Oh yeah, I got a cousin that. So that becomes the connection, and we talk about things like that.
That was awesome. And I love the simplicity of using social media to signal, but not to sell. Tawana wasn't cold calling. She was consistently in comments, adding value, making people laugh, and reminding them all along, hey, I'm over here selling homes. Now, anyone could easily do this right now. Go into a Facebook group, drop one authentic post, be it value or humor, and just send up that smoke signal. By the way, I help people buy and sell in insert your market here. From AI integrations, new sessions of FastCap, and the all-new Icon Lead Mastery series, there's a lot happening free to you inside of eXp University. Let's turn the spotlight over to Alyssa Specht from eXp University.
What's up, big agent meeting? Alyssa Specht here with eXp University, and I am here to tell you what is new with the U this coming week. And my friends, it's all about raising the bar. Raising the bar in your attraction strategy, in your brand presence, in your buyer experience, and in your leadership. So let me tell you everything that we've got coming up for you. First up, let's look at Level Up. That's going to be on Monday. And this is backed by popular demand. We have John Pugh and Meyer Takarar, and they're diving deeper into their agent attraction system. So these guys have over 750 agents in their network, and they're showing us how to turn conversations into conversions, use scripts that actually work, and create revenue that's predictable. So guys, this is actually part 2. If you missed part 1, don't worry, you can check back on the channel for part 1 and catch up. All right, now let's take a look over to Thursday. We're back with another amazing executive masterclass with Carrie Zier. She is eXp's VP of Luxury Growth, and she's taking us inside the world of luxury real estate and how to break in the right way. So check that out. That's on Thursday with another executive masterclass. But now let's take a look on over to Friday. We're back with another big agent meeting. You already know it's top producers, it's big insights, it's real stories. So make sure you tune every single Friday for the big agent meeting. And lastly, coming up on Friday, the Lab Podcast. This time, we've got Minda Ko, top producing eXp agent and co-creator of the Buyer Mastery Program. She's breaking down how to elevate your buyer experience, how to communicate your value in today's shifting market. Guys, block your calendars, tag your team. I'll see you there.
The absolutely awesome Alyssa Specht. That's going to do it for this week's Big Agent Meeting. If you got something useful out of today, whether it was Holly's breakdown of the new buyer seller data, that referral gold from Leo's podcast, or that free AI Accelerator underway at expuniversity.com, be sure to let us know. What you say shapes each and every show. Scan the QR code and give us a score. Let us know how we did and what you want more of. We read every response, and it helps keep the Big Agent Meeting valuable, relevant, and agent first. I'm Ian Wheatley from KGCI Real Estate on Air. Russ is going to be back with us right here next week. Till then, be smart, be real, keep building the real estate business that works for you. iConversations coming up next.